Okay, and we are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Niki Lopez, and this is The Art of Justice, the art making as catalyst for social justice and collective action. And today we're going to be showcasing some of the works that the community did in the workshop, as well as some other art that we have connected to it. This is a series that I'm producing with the LA YMCA in South Florida in Broward County, and is supported by the Community Foundation. So we're going to have 4 different workshops, as well as 4 different showcases from the work from the workshop, that's going to be centered around social justice. So we have different lenses that we're going to be focusing on, and then we're going to have a culminating event in January at the new LA YMCA. So my name is Niki Lopez. I'm an artist. I'm a social practitioner. I'm a curator, and I'm doing this project with the Y on behalf of the Y. And we're showing that work today. And I'm going to pass it over to Gabe to introduce himself as well.
Hi, everyone. I just want to welcome everyone once again. This is a very close to our hearts kind of workshop series, and we're glad that you're here. And I hope that you enjoyed the last session, this session, and join us for the next 6. Thank
you. And Sue, do you want to intro?
Hi, good afternoon. Happy Saturday. So nice to see your smiling faces. Great to be here. I'm a community member who is very interested in social justice and art, and just the intersection of those giving life to our communities and to ourselves. So really happy to be here. Thanks.
And Alana?
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. I'm Alana DaCosta of Creative Uprising, a community partner with this project, working with both What's Your Elephant and the YMCA. So I look forward to this session and look forward to the others. So please join us for the other sessions to come.
Thank you. Thank you. And then we're going to, so a little bit about today. Like we said, some people were on Thursday where we had the workshop. Alana, myself, Gabe, Sue, we had an art making workshop, and we looked at the focus that we looked at on Thursday was access and equity. So we have some slides. We're going to show, Alana's going to pull up the slides. We're going to go through this. This is an interactive showcase. So it is an open mic. So if someone has a piece that they want to share, raise your hand and we'll, put you in somewhere. Or if you are inspired by something, because this is what we're doing, is using the arts to create this space, to show to talk about access, to bringing up challenges, opportunities, different ways that we could use the art to impact access, to impact equity, to impact social justice. We also have a special poet coming on at 2:00, Quick the Poet. He will be here he's our featured performing artist for the evening, for this afternoon. And I'm going to dive right in. So I guess we go to the next slide. So this is the focus that we had for this section of the workshop. Access is the gateway to inclusion and participation. It hinders or enables an individual or group to live in equity. In theory, public institutions are inherently socially equitable and strongly reflect the entire community's concerns and needs to ensure that all have real access to opportunities. However, social equity in public institutions is not always a given and must be actively instituted and maintained as the needs and the desires of the communities evolve. Institution only opens to a privileged or select few have a high social injustice quotient. Restrictions, societies impede opportunities that could be available to the entire group. This lens addresses how art functions as a tool to eliminate inequality and create the space for the acquisition of access to all. So I'm gonna go down to the next one. So this is just a little sample. So, one of the ways that we could use art to create access, to create space, and to educate is also how we symbols. When we have pictures, sometimes when we're thinking of, for example, when we are wondering how do we get, as many people to participate in things, one of the ways that we could think of access and equity is the visuals, right? What are we teaching people? What do we show up? If you're doing a design and you have only one type of people on your flyer, those are the type of people that's going to come to your flyer, and you're telling people that don't look like that they may not feel comfortable there. So those are things that we got to think of. And one of the ways that, I use art and design, and we come together and use art and design as a way of educating, is how we bring in symbols. So the logo for this project, The Art of Justice, comes from an Ndikra symbol. And Alana, can you say the word? Because I'm always going to mess that up. Adikahene. So yes. So is chief of the Ndikra symbols of greatness, charisma, and leadership. This symbol is said to have played an inspiring role and in the designing of the other symbols. It signifies the importance of playing a leadership role. So, and many of you, I know, I see Coach Thaddeus online talks about, understand the symbolics of the circle, the ancient circle coming together, union. So this is a way that we're using design as another way to educate and to connect and to show symbols. So we're going to go into some of the other. So this is one of the pieces that was created in the workshop. And, like we said, if anyone has any feedback, anything they want to, that comes up for them, feel free to chime in. So this is one of the pieces that was created. We did collaging, and we did using word art. And, this was the piece that was made by one of the participants. You can go to the next slide. And this was a piece that, I actually made in the workshop, and we were talking about, access and everyone feeling included. And one of the points that I was bringing up is I had a family member that needed some support in counseling. And because they were a mother and they went into something, they didn't have, the financial means to just go in and get a therapist, like some people who may have that privilege. And so going to places that was, for affordable, low income, put her in a position, because she's a young Black mother, where now instead of getting that help, she's put in this loophole of, is she endangered to her children, is she doing all this, and then she doesn't get the access to the mental health that she was actually going to. So this piece was like kind of highlighting one of the challenges in our system. Next one.
Niki, I don't know if we want to make a comment. Yeah, so one of the things that struck me about your piece, I don't know if you want to, is how do we connect that back to the systems or the places where people are having these experiences, so that maybe they can change, right? So it just is so heartbreaking, because I know I work with a lot of people who are in systems who really want to help, right? But how are we regularly getting feedback that sometimes we're not helping, we're actually creating a barrier when we ask people to engage in a way that may cause further harm? And so I think art is a way to, like I would love to share this with some people who are in service systems, right? And to have conversations about, well, how might we be creating situations where people don't feel safe to come and get help, which is a basic human desire. Mm-hmm. And so I think it would be cool to bring this art into a conversation with professionals. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that, it just sort of struck me that.
Yes, and if I may, I agree with you 100%. So our systems are usually meant to supposedly heal, not to prevent, right? So, and that is also true for our healthcare system. So we're really Yes, there is no prevention. It's like when you are done and you are there, then it's too late, right? So it's also the lack of these organizations that may have preventing services to be available, or for the community not to know. There are, like, for example, kids in distress. I don't know if they currently do, but they used to have a huge unit just to stabilize families so they didn't get into the system. So some of the families that were serving never made it to the system because that's what they were there for. But if you don't have access to information, so you don't know where to go, then you by default go to those infrastructures or institutions that don't have that prevention mentality. And then when you get there, it's too late. So to your point, Sue, is how do we go back to make sure that those type of resources are available for the people that need it before they actually maybe have to face one of those old-term institutions, because sometimes they do great work, but they also been doing it the same way for way too many years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think this is why we do this work, right? So art could be used as, in this case, to bring about, talk about, highlight a challenge. It could be used as a way to express a solution. It could be used as a way just to express, because if we don't know what the problem is, we can't address it. So, and I think that's Sue, I'm definitely open to that, because that is like such a crazy issue, like especially for me personally, who, like, I'm a big advocate of mental health and counseling. And this particular family member, I was just like, you need it, you need it, you need it. They were expressing examples of depression and things like that. So encouraging them, and they finally go in, and now they're like up to the neck in unnecessary court cases just because they went to get the help. So now they don't have the help. They're at risk of, all of these organizations in their business, and they have two healthy kids, one thriving in school, no issue in the household, and they don't get the help. And so the children who has a mother that needs help does not get the help, and what's meant to be a system of help is not, is causing more damage. So yeah. Any other feedback? And see, and just let me see, we have Paula Gillum on Facebook. So we're live, we're on Zoom. We're also live on Facebook under Niki Lopez Creative. And we have Paula Gillum saying, thank you so much for all your good work. Art can be a powerful force. Absolutely. So this is a piece, I don't know, Alana, do you want to read it? Do I want to read? I think it's a nice piece. It's one
yes,
of
this is a piece. This is a good leeway into another piece that we have here from one of our artists for Black Lives Matter. This was created by Kianga Art. And it says here, well, if anyone really wishes to know how justice is administered in a country, one does not question the policemen, the lawyers, the judges, or the protected members of the middle class. One goes to the unprotected, those precisely who need the law's protection most, and listens to their testimony. Ask any Mexican, any Puerto Rican, any Black man, any poor person, ask the wretched how they fare in the halls of justice. Then you will know not just whether or not the country is just, but whether or not it has any love for justice or any concept of it all. It is certain, in any case, that ignorance allied with power is the most ferocious enemy can have. James Baldwin. This piece is she is mixed media, so she has fabric. She's a known fabric artist, and actually will be the featured artist for the next workshop that we're having in August. This next piece we have here was done by our special guest and also participant last week, or last time on Thursday when we had the workshop. Sue, would you like to talk about your piece at all?
Yeah, so my art skills stopped at second grade, but I bravely persevered and created what you see in front of you. And what I was feeling at the time, you may not recognize it, but that's actually a teardrop. And in that teardrop is the truth that if one part of us, any one of us, any part of the earth suffers, all parts suffer with it. And we may not be attuned to that suffering because of our own trauma or disassociation or numbness. But truly we are interconnected. And so also, you know, just feeling the weight of climate change and the pandemic and social inequities, and just knowing that that's in our tears, right? And then, you know, I'm an energy person, so the lower right hand is really some of the energies and the vibrations that I think we can bring into relationship with the tears to then grow things like healing, restoring, regenerative, and really bringing our collective body into a more restorative place. So some of that energy is knowing that we're interconnected, is being fully present to each other, is practicing hospitality and being welcoming and inviting, valuing differences, that we're really, that's the sparks of life, is our differences. And that this energy of being committed to our well-being, for all and for each. So how do those energies intersect with the tears to create some new life? So that was my meditation.
Mm.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much. Very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Niki?
This is another piece from the Artists for Black Lives Matter collective. It's actually a piece I made a while back. As long as poverty, injustice, and inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. Nelson Mandela. So I think that's pretty much see and say. But I do want to mention, you know, because Sue was, you know, talking about her art skills. Art is a creative expression. It's about expressing. Of course, some of us may have some talent in that. And, you know, we have talent somewhere. We're all creative in our own way. But these workshop, these series, there is no prior artistic background needed. So we had like this last Thursday, we did collaging, which, you know, it's like, you know, like people don't feel like, oh, I have to make it look like something. We're going to have a fabric artist doing a project. We're going to have a poet, you know, doing a workshop, how to express ourselves with words. So we invite anyone who's watching this live now, who might be watching this on the replay, to please, you know, go to whatsyourelephant.org/theartofjustice, and you'll see the other dates to really come in and be a part of the workshops, because, you know, everyone's included and everyone's able to make some art. So.
Just so you know, I've set the bar really low so that anybody can come in and feel like you're doing a great job.
Your piece is so powerful, though. It just got all the feels, all the levels, meditation, like it's just amazing.
Actually, I'm glad you provided all those clarifications right before mine. So this is my expressive part of the way I expressed some of my thoughts during that process. It's kind of interesting because if we were to turn that page upside down, you still will find questions that you could actually read. And the thought process, we were talking about access, and I had an experience to be fostered that for several years. The things I saw and experienced were very challenging emotionally and personally. And one of the things I thought, and that is the little characters, our kids all the way to the left, they are at different spaces, one are in front of the other, but they're all beyond the line that says shared journey. Because one of the big things I thought that I had repeatedly in my head when I was going through that process was that, you know, we like to open our mouth and say all kids are born with 100,000 possibilities in front of them. And I keep saying the way the system is created and the way these kids are being brought into the world, they're born behind that line. And if they're lucky and the system, you know, works for them and help the parents, their family members, and provide the services, maybe in a couple of years or so, they may get to the starting line. But guess what? They are already behind all the other kids that may live in a different environment that actually were born with 1,000 possibilities in front of them. So it was really a shared journey with all of us included. but it was very challenging personally to have to answer all those questions every single day for all of them. So like, how do I do this, and what do I do, and what do I do now, and where do I take him, and who can help, and all that. And ideally, all the way to the right is just a piece, looks like a sun, looks like a candle, and was really always never losing track personally of I'm gonna do the best for these kids. I'm gonna do the best to take him to whatever brightness he can be, no matter the cost. So it was, and again, along the way, I have to talk about access. I have to have many fights with systems and people that were there supposed to help us and supposed to help these kids, including the core system. One of the most awful experiences I ever had. But again, so it really is, the letters around it is like access, because we were talking about what happens, how do we show up in the world, and how these kids show up in the world, and what is our role, and how do we make sure that, like, to Sue's point, this is a shared journey. We all have a role to play, no matter where we are at, and we really have to, bless you, and we really have to push this through to try to support. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. I love your piece. It's beautiful as well. So the next piece is my piece that I did in the workshop. And basically the first thing that I saw in the magazine that I opened up was this cannabis leaf with the dropper. And it just made me think about, where we've come now with cannabis in our society, and how, especially living in a capitalist society, we tend to take things from nature, or feel like we can take things and, make profit from it or capitalize off it. While times change, when you have people, that are currently still dealing with, jail time, or being in prison, or being criminalized because of something that is now, openly traded on, our stock market. I also have here, I did Mars, because now, like, we're trying to profit Mars and make a community on Mars. And so I'm just looking at, like, how can we stop this madness and realize that it's not eye for eye, that things, we're not separate from nature, we are of nature. We need to break down those walls that we've created in our society and ascend beyond it, and also realize that we are connected, and we must remember the roots of that connection. And that's my piece. The last piece we have here is also another Artists for Black Lives Matter panel. And it's basically a panel in tribute to Eshu Elegba, who in many African spiritualities, you'll find that he represents crossroads, choices, access as well. So this is a nice representation of, a lot of African spirituality, or anything coming from Africa, a lot of times is demonized or is seen as evil. And he, being one of the first Orishas that's acknowledged in the beginning and at the end of certain rituals, he is often demonized and looked upon as the devil, when in actuality he is, the messenger, the divine messenger, the one that can help with choices and aligning us with our destiny. So this was a nice way to end our panel with Baba Eshu.
And we have Kathleen Dean on Facebook saying very beautiful.
Yeah. Our this project is supported by the Community Foundation of Broward, which includes the Oakland Park Women's Club, David and Francine Horvitz Family Fund and Adams Fund, and the Mary Alex McKenzie Impact Fund.
I am.
If you're interested in getting more details, as Niki said earlier, we do have several more workshops and showcases. Feel free to visit what'syourelephant.org/theartofjustice.
And just a couple little announcement. I put some information in the chat on Zoom and also in the comments on Facebook. So we do have, like we said, this is a grant. This is the first of the series. We have 3 other lenses of workshops, and we have 3 other virtual showcases, as well as the culminating event. And at some point, we're going to have some in person. So the next workshop will be this Thursday, August 12th at 6:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like we said, there, Kianga, who's a fabric artist, will be leading that workshop. We'll have a special guest, and we're going to be focusing on a different lens. So we have, there's a link for a questionnaire. The questionnaire helps us to refine for the next workshop. The questionnaire helps us to, give feedback, important feedback to, the Community Foundation. So please definitely make sure you fill out the questionnaire. There's also the link to the website, what'syourelephant.org/theartofjustice, where you could RSVP for all of the workshops, all of the showcase. There's a link to RSVP, as well as a call for artists. So each showcase will be showing some of the work that participants made in the workshop, as well as local artists, or actually, because it's virtual, artists, whoever wants to submit, can also show their work as it relates to social justice or any of the lenses that we're focusing on. So that is the end of the slides. And I would like to open up the floor if anyone has any feedback, anyone has, maybe they have an example of how they use their art, their voice, their platform, their professional or personal, lives to impact, social justice, access, equity. If anybody wants to have some feedback on that or some commentary to share.
I'm actually curious. I'm a researcher and a planner in my day job, and I think about the ways of knowing that are valued in the conversations that I have at work. Right? It's like numbers, it's research, it's evidence, and yet even in this short time, the engagement with this art as a mechanism to stimulate conversations, to build relationships, to think about possibilities, is like, how might we bring art into a professional meeting or into a thing about meeting? So to, I think, Mary's point about asking the question, I'm asking the question, what's the intersection between art and being a professional? So I'm gonna hold that for a bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary, feel free to jump in, Mary.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry, but I'm traveling and I'm in an area where there's not much Wi-Fi connection here. So I am on a research project right now. In fact, I'm on Ruben Stacy's project, and I took a trip to Alabama at EJI, the museum, the Legacy Museum. So it was quite interesting, and I will be sharing that a little later. So Gabe, your art piece really touched me, because without who, what, when, where, why, or how can we get to whatever our stories are? So I was really inspired by that. And as a researcher, I do appreciate it. So I just want you to know that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Zoo, I was thinking exactly the same thing, right? Because everything is risky, especially when we're talking about this type of having this type of conversations. But it's riskier to bring something like this, and get our executive team to like, okay, here is like some collage. Just cut here and here. We're gonna get this art project, right? But long time ago, YUSA created a deck of cards where they tried to put all kind of pictures. And actually, they were spread out, and you have to pick one. And then you had to, first of all, you have to, they were all face up, and you have to pick one. And then after that, the ice breaking was, what was the reason you picked it in relation to what we're here for today? And I have to tell you that as resistant as most people were to get that card or pick that picture, when they start talking, you couldn't shut them up. And obviously, you gotta be prepared to some of the things that are gonna come up, but it was very powerful. So we did that for a very long time. After people start getting used to the same pictures and they go like, oh, I know what I'm gonna pick, so we have to like change it. But it was powerful, and it was a slash version of this, not really having to create the art, but to pick a picture and say, I chose this because today we're talking about this. It usually opened up several doors that made the conversation easier. Just one of the examples I have left.
So guys,
And
I'm
I think,
introducing myself. I'm Jan Goodhart. I'm with the Broward Center. And Niki, I followed you for a long, long time. And I know Jerris, he does a lot of work with us, but I'm listening to how all of us are looking at different ways. And first, thank you all for the sharing of the art. And Sue, thank you especially, because now I feel like I really can try to draw. I don't have to look as good as Niki to collage. But what I wanted to share, I'm lucky in that I work in an arts organization that welcomes art making as a way for us to address business concerns. But I'm thinking about it differently listening to this conversation, because we have a staff retreat every year. We're usually somewhere between 80 and 100, a few smaller now because of COVID and layoffs. But we tended to do collaborative pieces. So it was all about taking a section of, say, a mandala. What I'm learning thinking about this for our next staff retreat is really asking people to do something unique and independent that's showcasing what they're thinking and feeling, and really digging more onto the individual as opposed to the collective, because I think it can be a little bit more revelatory than saying, here are all the pieces of a mandala. When we work together, we create something beautiful like we do in the theater. It's all about collaboration, and everyone's success depends on the whole. But I think some of the work in the area of equity, access, and justice actually has to start from the individual. So just listening and watching is maybe using and again, we're fortunate because our staff is used to being asked to create art to solve business issues, is really looking at it much more from the individual perspective, because I think it really will help to bring out more issues, more sensitive issues, than trying to do something that you think will fit with everyone, is identifying that way that maybe we don't feel like we fit today. So I'm enjoying listening to that. And I know we come to it much more from the performing arts storytelling. I'm really excited about ways we can look at pulling the visual arts, the spoken word, and the performance pieces together.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to, comment on what you said, Jen. So the project, this is some of the work that I do. This is connected to a project that I have called "What's Your Elephant?" So it's using the arts to create a safe space to talk about anything unspoken. So we have, some of the work like this. We have the workshop, and so actually. A few years ago, the LA YMCA brought me in to do a What's Your Elephant workshop as a team building thing, right? So, so creating that space, and like you said, instead of just looking at like collective fitting the pieces, giving everyone a space to share what they're up to, what they may have a challenge with, what they see as an opportunity. And I know Alana could attest to this. We did a What's Your Elephant workshop in Miami many years ago when they were talking about some of the challenges that they had in Miami, like what are the issues of like access to the arts and just things in their neighborhood, right? So the beauty of that is when everyone was able to create a piece of what they saw as a challenge and opportunity, something to share. And as they went along sharing it, like I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it, but people said, this is a problem. My piece is about this problem. Someone else in that room said, I have the solution. So, and the same thing when we did it as with the Y as a team building, people shared things that they didn't know about their other coworkers. When I brought this to my son's third grade, and then the fourth grade teacher, they were like, "Hey, can you do it?" And the kids were like, "Ah, yes." You know, the teacher said, "Oh, I waited to the end of the year to do this. I should have did it in the beginning of the year because I actually learned more in this little workshop, giving the kids a space to just like whatever you want to share." Than she did the whole year. So it's definitely something that is powerful, impactful, personal, and it's also community and team building as well.
Yes. And on that note, I have a little short activity for us to do. So I'm going to share my screen. It's very short, but it's very impactful as well. So this activity is called When I Am, I Feel. And it's a woven poem. And what I want you to do is we're going to just jump in. So when you feel the urge to unmute yourself, go ahead and unmute yourself and jump in. And the first person starts and they say, for an example, when I dance, I feel happy. And then the next person says, well, when I am happy, I feel, and they say, in my example, when I'm happy, I feel safe, right? So we can start. Let's say, Niki, how about you start? And then, like I said, it's going to be very organic. So whoever gets triggered by the last word that Niki says, just jump in. If you tend to be someone that likes to talk a lot, then, you know, take a pause and create space for someone that may not talk as often. So, Niki, you want to go ahead and start?
Way to put me on the spot. I didn't get a chance to prepare for this. Okay. That's a good one. Healing through.
Mm-hmm. When I blank or when I am blank, I feel. Since I put you on the spot, I'm going to go ahead and start, and then you can come after me, right? All right. So when I am singing, I feel free.
When I am breathing, I feel.
No. When I am free, I am with free.
You have to see. Okay, when I am.
You have to use the last word.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. I missed that part.
You have to use the last word.
See, that's what I was going to say. Alana, I don't think you made it easier.
Dang, I should have went first. Okay. When I am free, I feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
When I am alive, I feel connected to endless possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
When I am loved, I feel
when
happy.
I am connected.
Oh, you have to start with his thing, yeah.
Anyone else?
Okay. When I feel endless possibilities, I feel gratitude.
So whoever's going next got to start with gratitude.
When I feel gratitude, I feel open-hearted.
When I am open-hearted, I feel invincible.
When I am invincible, I feel I can create change.
When I create change, I feel purposeful.
When I am purposeful, I feel vital and peace.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll end there. So the woven poem can be triggering. Because what do you say? What if you're not peaceful? What if you don't feel connected, right? The object of this poem is to realize that in some way we are all connected. We just have to dig a little deep. We just have to open up our hearts and realize that we are all on this journey together, and we can all create change in not only our lives, but in the lives of others. So we're going to get ready for our artist. He's on his way. And I wanted to just share a little bit about the artist. So he's getting ready, right, Nick?
Yeah. So he was gonna come at 2, but we told him whenever he's ready. Okay. So he's prepping.
Okay, 1 moment.
That was a good exercise. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes it'll be like silent for like 5 minutes because it's hard. You want to connect, but then if the statement doesn't hold true, right? We have to find and dig deep. How can I find that truth within my experience? So it's not an easy activity, even though, they're simple words, when I am, or when it's very simple, but those words are so definitive. Whatever we put after that I am statement is going to kind of, change our perspective on whether or not we do have access, on whether or not we are worthy, on whether or not we can create change, right? So it really, it seems simple, but it's not. But I really want to encourage everyone to know that, every drop of water that you drop can create an ocean or can create a river. All of our efforts are important. We don't have to, be the great protester or be an excellent orator. We can find our strengths within ourselves and within each other and see how we can connect to really create that change. I don't want to do his intro too early if he's not here. So, would anyone else like to share?
Or have an activity? I'm not going to say Sue, but no pressure, no pressure.
Do you have another one like that, Alana, in your sleeve? That was pretty awesome.
I actually do have more activity. I could have you all participate. So what I would like for you to do is, see if we can. You're gonna uncross your feet. I don't know if you can see me. I think I messed up the lighting. All right. So make sure that your feet are flat onto the ground. And then I want you to put your left hand on the left side of your chest and the right hand right on top. Just listening and feeling your heartbeat, your tempo, noticing if the rate is fast or if it's moving slow. And without any judgment, just observe the rhythm of your pace. Relax the shoulders away from the ear. And I want you to think of the ocean. Wide, moving, flowing, fluid, open with no limit. Now imagine yourself dipping a small cup into the ocean and scooping up some water. And as you scoop the water out, slowly take your time walking out of the ocean. Slowly walking out, being very careful not to spill a drop. Continue to walk slowly and intentionally, and you find a field of sunflowers. Field of sunflowers as you hold the cup. Turn around in every direction, and you see a sea of yellow and golden browns. Find yourself joyful and pleasant, and slowly pour out a cup of water into the earth. And as you slowly pour the cup of water, you notice all of the sunflowers around you start to grow and get taller. And you stand in amazement, not realizing that your small cup of water could create such growth, such beauty. You stand there in amazement and now begin to tap the feet onto the earth. Tap, tap, tap as you ground yourself into this truth. You ground yourself, knowing that at all times you are fluid, knowing at all times you can create impact not only in your life, but in the lives of others. Stop tapping your feet when you're ready. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale and release the shoulders away from the ears. Two more times. Inhale deeply through the nose. Feel the sun kiss upon your face. Now slowly exhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale deeply. Inhaling all the blessings, all of the joy. And then slowly exhale, releasing the shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to roll the shoulders back. Roll them forward. Slowly remove your hands, bring them down, and when you're ready, slowly open up your eyes, knowing that you can create change. You can create beauty and connection in your life, in the lives of your family and your community.
Mm.
Yeah. So at this time, I'm going to do a check-in, just to check in how everyone is feeling. And then we'll bring in our special artist. You're welcome. Sue.
I always enjoy
Anyone
those
else?
type of things because I hold a lot of tension in my body. So, and that's just something over the past year or so I've been working on, like the breathing and relaxing. So, like even in the practice, this little short practice that we did, like every now and then, I'm like, oh wait a minute, I'm holding myself, holding my knees tense, I'm holding my shoulders tense. So I was like relaxing each point. So as I relax, it just feels like deeper levels of that. So that's awesome.
Yes, because of life and just challenges of life, we forget how to breathe. And we hold so much of these experiences, whether they be traumatic or whether they be positive experiences, we hold those memories in our bodies. And it's so important to check in and use self-inquiry and use those moments of silence just to see, where we're breathing, what's going on, or where we feel any tension, especially when we're dealing with social responsibility and social justice and making change. Change is trauma. It can be traumatic, right? And when you're involved in actively making change in your life and your community, it's so important that we use those moments to check in. Our special guest next week is going to be talking about that, not next week, but next month is going to be talking about that more on, self-healing and self-care and being intentional with our breathing and moving our bodies and finding moments of joy. Those are also very revolutionary, right? So in these moments of fighting for social justice and bringing awareness to certain issues, we must also tap in. We must check in with ourselves and make sure that we're not burning ourselves out. Make sure that the same effort and impact that we're making in the lives of other people, that we're taking the time to do that in our lives as well. Because this is not a race. Like I said, I've heard a lot. If anything, this is more like a tag you're it or a relay. And we have to know when we need those moments of break, or we can tag someone else and say, tag, Gabe, you're it, or tag Sue, you're it. I need a space to kind of just breathe and take in and take a pause. So that's all. I love my soapbox.
But I think I just want to kind of, I think that's something very important, whether you're in that type of space where you're actively or professionally, personally working on social justice, creating change, doing all of these different things, trying to make changes in the systems, self-care, is a radical self-care is just as important, and that fuels us, like this whole thing of like we're multitasking, we're this and that, and we have to take that time to breathe, to relax, to check in, like you said, Alana, tap in. Once I get tired, Alana, you take it from here. And I get my breath up. So that is something really important, and it's something I've been really working with inside myself, to like, as I do these big things internally, externally, to have more check in, more calm, more self-care, more breathing, more that, because it helps me to focus and take on all those things. And I see Mary has her hand.
I do. I have to say, Elena, that was quite challenging for me. It required a lot of discipline. And I didn't realize it until we started dipping the cup into the water and getting into the ocean and all of that. And I'm like, okay, my mind is being challenged here. So that was quite a challenge for me. It was good, and it shows I guess I don't know, I need to kind of focus a little bit more. So it's a help. It kind of puts you in that yoga kind of mood. So I enjoyed it though, but I couldn't stay focused.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we are in a society that doesn't want us to focus. We are being pulled in so many different directions that we're told from very young that multitasking are good things, when the brain is already multitasking. We don't need to add anything else to it. So finding those moments are so important, especially when you're doing social services work or any kind of social justice or just living life. We need those moments to just reflect, to see if we are on the right path. Am I making choices aligned with what I want to do with my life experience? But we're conditioned, so don't feel any, don't beat up on yourself, Mary, because the society that we're living in, our brain is constantly going, and it does take discipline and focus just to kind of detach ourselves, remain connected, and remember that we're always connected, but to find moments of detachment, because we shouldn't be attached to these distractions, right? We shouldn't be distracted.
And I would say that.
So I see that our. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would say that's why it's Niki. Practice, right? So it takes building up. The more we notice, like, oh, and sometimes we have to give ourselves that space to be like, well, we're just going to be all over the place. We'll try next time. And then, or we try shorter periods of time. But that is definitely something, especially with the work that I know everyone's doing on this call, that is something very, very vital and helpful to us all. And it is a practice that, over time. Yes, Alana.
Take it. Yeah. So we have Quick the Poet with us, and I wanted to give him the proper introduction. He has been a professional poet, host, and live entertainer for the past 2 decades and counting. He is the founder, CEO, and host of Megaflow Arts Platform and Workshops at the world famous Broward Center. He's regarded as one of the most sought after, elevating all around live entertainers nationally and internationally. His favorite quote is "Keep going and watch what happens when you keep going." The one and only Quick the Poet.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing absolutely amazing. How y'all doing out there? Everybody doing all right? Even if you blink your eyes and wink it, I know these Zoom calls can be different. You can hit thumbs up and all of that. I didn't have a chance to hear the detail from before, which I wish I honestly would have had an opportunity to do so. I was telling Niki that I really want to try to get on to, because I like to try to get a feel of how people feel about things going on in the world in general. I love the topic that you all are doing. I guess to an extent, respectfully stated, I want to say that I'm in love with that topic in particular, because, with so many things going on in the world, a lot of people are not educated and or enlightened enough about not just the things that are happening, but most importantly, in everything to me at day's end, how people feel. People need to get used to understanding and respecting how people feel, even if we don't agree with it. It's okay to agree to disagree. And I've told people left and right, you have to be able to sit in tough conversations with people. That's the only way the world really gonna move, or we'll continue to hide these things. And generation after generation, we all will continue to watch the world. We'll live through it, being affected, and it will be long gone, and things will still be going on. So we need to try to do things in a better manner. If you don't mind, before I continue and move forward, just a tidbit in about 30 seconds, if you don't mind me asking, Alana. The main gist of what has been expressed so far on this Zoom call and experience, what are some of the main things that everybody has kind of been expressing about what's going on out here in the world? I think you still on mute, Alana. I think you still on mute. There you go.
Okay. Well, this lens, we're dealing with access and equity. So a lot of the work had a lot to do with not having access or certain barriers being put in place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And at least in how I formatted my set as a whole, a lot of the times, I'll better say it, 99% of the time when I do my shows, we don't get the chance to really get into the depth of explaining where certain forms of work really came from. We just typically get up there, we'll rock out on a few statements, get people buzzed on it, and we go into it and we'd end up doing the poem. I want to do something just a little bit different for you all with the two selections that I decided to do. One, in no particular order. The reason I chose these two particular topics to go with the topic is because I feel that they are two of the most vital topics for me. One, the first poem in particular, colorblind. When I was 10 years old, it took me years. In fact, it took me to just about, I'm going to say about 3 or 4 years ago to actually publicly disclose it, but I attempted to scrub my skin off in the shower when I was 10 years old, which was, to this day, if anybody knows who I am, you couldn't get me to barely scratch my skin the wrong way. I feel like I have one of the dopest coats on the planet, given by my mother and my father. But I feel like people hide a lot about themselves. And one of my friends was like, when he heard the poem, he himself, who grew up with me, he was like, brother, being around you, man, I would have never thought that. And that's the truth about all of us. We don't express everything and how we feel and things that we are going through all the time to everybody. We hide a lot. I hid it because, growing up, this good old dark chocolatey skin was not cute. I'll be sure was in. I was not. And then around about the age of 16, this guy by the name of Tyrese came out. Always Coca-Cola. The moment he did that, I walked into school the next day and I was immediately uniquely popular. Oh man, your skin is amazing and this, and this. But a lot of people didn't really like me like that. They didn't. Trust me. The numerous love letters and poems I wrote to these young ladies when I was, you know exactly who you are. You didn't like me like that. And that's okay. Because God rest my mother's soul, my mother was 100% accurate. She said, listen, son, you are unique, you are special, and people will appreciate you in due time, and that's okay. And I appreciate my mother for that. So this first poem, I hope you all appreciate it, and we can move forward in our set. It's called Colorblind. I attempted to scrub my melanin off in the shower. I cannot believe I actually attempted to scrub my melanin off in the shower. No different than what erasers do to pencil markings on the paper, I took the same aggressive behavior to my skin somewhere around my adolescent years, when my shade of melanin was not appreciated the way it is in the present. You would have thought that the overall consistency of love and family support would have never existed with the same broken record scratch mentions of your skin is beautiful. Your skin is beautiful. Your skin is beautiful, but I didn't believe it. Back in the day, I would have debated to any dreamer that they were crazy for ever trying to convince me to see the light beyond the everyday dark shade of my reality of actually living the color purple, especially if you've never shared appalling nicknames with Celie and I. That in no way one day I grow up to be compared to so many positive, dark figures that have existed in this world. Large in part, if not all, because of the very same humble heart that is beating my chest beneath the very same dark skin that I've lived in from the very start, like so many other people that used to be children that have shared appalling nicknames with Celie from the color purple and I. The truth can be very eye-opening, painful, and alarming. How nowadays you actually have millions of people out there darkening their skin shades on purpose. I'm a fan of his, but in this case, I'm not swinging with Sammy Sosa. To be socially accepted or hopefully selected to star in the latest movie, TV show, or commercial, I'm so happy long ago I discovered in that shower long ago what true worth is beneath the surface. Bar no major health issues and interruptions, we are all created equal as people. All of those shower horror sequels helped me see through what all of the bullying and appalling name calling incorrectly convinced me I could fix by trying to scrub and bleed through on my skin color. It was never the issue. It was a lack of strength in my confidence and clarity in my vision to truly appreciate the statement, perception is in the eye of the beholder. Tupac's Black of the Berry, Sweet of the Juice line, it isn't a favorite of mine because it helped my color become so globally popular. It was because in addition to the millions of Black women it uplifted, helped so many people globally abroad, especially a kid from in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Westwood Park, keep his head up. So whenever you look in the mirror, you remember that we are all beautiful in one way or many others. And we must consistently teach that to our sons and our daughters, because you don't always know what takes place behind every locked door or shower curtain. And I'm for certain that if we unconditionally surround ourselves with the right people or the right person, our character will eventually get the right purpose and characterization it deserves in the long distance of all of this. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fail-safe plan. You don't ever have to get used to living colorblind. And that's colorblind. So, colorblind tells you a touch of my heart, my story. I'm an African-American man who is married to a Haitian woman. So we have what I refer to as Americans. I'm the darkest of my blend. My wife is the lightest of our blend. And then we have the blend of our children, you know? And one thing I love about the mix of our combination is we get a chance to teach our children on all layers of how it doesn't matter what color you are in this world. You as a human being could do whatever you choose to do. Your confidence, your determination, your focus, who you surround yourself with, all these things are absolutely important to your livelihood. You keep those things in line. It doesn't matter what color you are. You should be treated fairly like everyone else, and you should fairly treat everyone respectfully on all levels. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what country they're from. I don't care what gender they are. I don't care their sexual preference. I don't care what it is. If you are human, you're a human. And that's what it comes down to with me. I say it to my mother to this day if she was down here on this earth and that's what she taught me. I say it to the president's face. And if the good Lord was down here, depending on whomever you believe in, I say it to their face too. Nobody put anybody here on this planet to be better than anybody else. I don't believe that. And if it is, then they are really gonna be angry at me the rest of the time. Because the cancer, the positive type of cancer I'm trying to spread in this world is love, loyalty, respect, appreciation of people, and unity. You don't like it, you probably want to stay from around somebody like me. Because I'm going to be someone that makes you respect the fact of just being happy with yourself, appreciating who you are, and taking advantage of the life that you have. That's the purpose of colorblind. Get past the color part. Focus on who you are. Love yourself hard enough to the point where nobody can tell you no different than what you want to do. Don't waste your time wasting your time. We are all on the same ticking time clock that does not wait on anybody. Anybody. Don't waste your time focusing on the color part. Let's focus on breaking these boundaries and moving forward together. And that's what colorblind is about. And moving forward into, I thought it would be even better. I was kind of all over the place. I was like, you know what? I had all these poems running through my head. I was like, this one will be perfect too. And this is what I should close with, you know? And, you know, I'd read through the description numerous times of what you all will be speaking about. That's why I also asked Miss Alana in the beginning, some of the energy that came from you all. And today, ironically, I was walking through the mall with my wife and my kids this morning. If anybody that don't know me, I mean, I posted left and right. Nobody can say if you on my page, then you know it. I have my wife and my 4 daughters. I have my 9-year-old. I have my 7-year-old. We went back to the drawing board and we tried to create a prince, and we end up getting identical twin girls. So I have a queendom, an amazing queendom. People have been asking me left and right, are you going back to the drawing board having more kids? No. We are set in what we have. With this queendom, I'm happy. Because being in the household with these 5 beautiful women, it is a unique thing on a day-to-day basis. I'm all right. I'm just fine. And it's crazy, you know, a young lady who passed us today, the lady said, oh my goodness, you have 5 daughters. Man, you in trouble. I said, nah, ma'am, let me correct you. Anybody that come to my door or approach my daughters the wrong way, they in trouble. Yeah, that part. So, the level of that ground. I thought a great twist was when she said it, I said, you know, something I'm still watching the world that people sweep up under the rug left and right is how I know we talk about making sure that things are equal between men and women, but we still have plenty of barriers out there that keep women under, which I don't like, especially with having daughters. Because I'm surely going against them barriers left and right. And I was already doing it before, but with having daughters and being with my wife, now we've been together 17 years and we'll be married 10 in December, you know, just watching the different things and sacrifices that women just have to do in general. And that doesn't matter what nationality is, just in general, regardless of what society it is across the planet Earth, there is always some form of barrier that tries to put a woman in her place, you know, and it bothers me a whole lot because sometimes I find myself, and people need to get this from men and a king's energy, because I stand on mine. I'm glad y'all recording it. Feel free to play it back for anybody you want. What I don't agree with is, you know, I have elders that I've looked up to for years. And I, you know, in due respect, one of them just said to me not too long ago, you know, well, with you being the man of the house, that should be your decision. Okay. Yes and no. Here's how that works in my household. I feel that she's 100% and I'm 100%. And that 100% plus that 100% equals life for us, not the 50-50 thing. We both give 100% all the time. That's why we've been able to survive and evolve how we have and continue to raise our children how we have. She has an equal say in my household. Yes, she makes sure that the king feels like a king, but my queen, I make sure that she feels like a queen. And that's important. I make sure that my daughters see a certain form of energy, and that's super duper important. So as I go into this poem I could tell you in advance right now, it is about my love for them. It is about my fear of what's going on in this world. And in a nutshell, hopefully, you'll understand the gist of what it says in the end of how I feel about it all. The poem is called Category Fives. One of the most beautiful and equally terrifying things to me is being the father of 4 daughters in this 21st century, watching them all play and build sandcastles with their mother peacefully by the Atlantic Ocean. And as much as I love to see how all of my daughters want to give everybody that passes by an affectionate smile and a hug, it's always overshadowed by that dark cloud of reality of how I must readjust the naive nature and use of their trust. How I must be that unconditionally loving father that properly prepares them all for the eventual bad days and tomorrows that will eventually show up, with the many life users and abusers that endlessly hunt and follow us all through the valleys of the good people. Just like the individual shadows that none of us can ever completely get rid of is exactly why I must maximize their senses. Do everything I can so none of them ever becomes another senseless victim that any killer, sexual predator, or senseless sinner can ever claim on their bucket list as another successful accomplishment that they've hoped become famous for being another sad story. Just like any of the ones described in any city, state, or country's most infamous or heinous cases taken on by the local First 48 Special Victims Unit. So my goodness, I need them all to listen and not play clueless to most, if not all, of the good knowledge that I give them. Because I've already been warned and informed that whether it's one thing or 1 million, your children will eventually rebel against you on something. So I've been heavily advised to master the life skill and art of extreme meditating and patience, to keep my blood pressure from overloading on any of those days that either one of my daughters are ever crazy enough to ever rebel against me or their mother. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I was raised old school. And though it's extremely early, while our mother slowly but surely teaches and raises them all from a positive women's perspective of how they can garner themselves and garner respect for themselves as globally respected women, I, as their father, must slowly but surely teach them and raise them from a positive male's perspective of how a family properly sticks together, whether we are rich or broke. How if it's possible for them, for any man, it's possible for them all. You don't just settle for mediocre when others believe you won't. We are all human on this globe. So I'm protecting the hopes and keeping the little things available, like the endless kisses and hugs, an ear or a shoulder for talking or leaning on. So a long, long time from right now, when I eventually give any of them away to anyone, it won't be a complete surprise when I expect them to end up with a guy similar to the type of man their father is and one I've become, one who is loyal, loving, and reliable. Because they'll be smart enough to know to never become ambitiously in love with the type of dude I used to be when I was no good, confused, and completely unreliable. I just wish I could stay in that perfect place in my favorite space, just watching them all play and build sandcastles with their mother by the Atlantic Ocean forever. Instead of having to constantly worry if they all will forgive me wholeheartedly every time that my mood and mannerisms change on them at the same erratic pace that that wind is blowing in every direction coming off the Atlantic Ocean. Because on the contrary to popular belief, I'm not struggling with having any issues of having ADD or from being bipolar. I'm just a man doing the very best he can to provide for and watch over his wife and his daughters. Because one thing's for sure, when those unavoidable storms show up looking for my wife and daughters, you can guarantee this. They will find me waiting on them as the last line of defense, admittedly scared to death, but undeniably ready. And that's category 5. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure existing with you all. I want to tell y'all this on closing, Well, I was asked in an interview one time, with all these millions and billions of poets out there in the world, what makes you different or unique? And I thought about that a lot after actually initially answering the question, and what I actually answered with was very much the truth. I know that I'm a unique being that just want the best for other people. I don't know anybody else outside of what they show me. The late, great Maya Angelou said, people show you who they are, believe them. You need to start doing that. You know what I get tired of seeing all the time with people? I watch on these social networks, and what I really don't understand is how so many people don't see how they are playing themselves on these social networks when they putting themselves out there. There are certain things you just need to just keep to yourself. You know what I mean? And that's all of us. Don't let these social networks fool you, because remember, somebody around they behind the scenes pulling strings on that left and right. They are. You got to be careful with that. Protect your energy. There's nothing wrong with you being happy. There's nothing wrong with you staying positive, even in the most trying times, because you need to. We are living in a time right now where suicide is at an incredibly insane high rate. Especially with these young people. We all need to continue to start leading by better examples, you know? And when I gave that answer during that interview, as I say this in closing, the person pretty much was like, I mean, they kind of gave me this look like, well, oh my goodness, you perfect. Well, nope, I'm far from that. You've seen my shows, you know, sometimes my mouth can fly off at the handle. But here's the difference between me and many others, especially when it comes to being a man in this world. I wouldn't care if I was the only man on this planet and there were only women on this planet across the board. I still see you all as equal. We are equal out here. And how we evolve together is when we work better together and we understand that. There are differences between us. There are differences between men and there are differences between women. But we all have a choice to have a choice. And I'm okay with that. We got to start being okay with that. Learn to start having these tough conversations, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, have them with each other. Then after that, shake hands, hug, high five, or whatever, you know, depending on the space that you're in, virtually or so forth. And let's get back to being positive. That's what I want to see more of. You know, think about it. There's a reason why these kids not outside playing the same way they used to, like we used to. We was outside playing every day. These days it's different. They've taken so much virtually. Let's get back to really knowing not just ourselves, you know, but our surroundings. Watch out for who you keep around you. Watch out for who you keep around your kids. Watch out for the energy that approaches you all the time. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. If you got a whole friend and or family member or a group of friends that's always coming to you about some gossip and some nonsense, either address that or cut that off. It's a waste of time. A complete waste of time. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what age. It's a complete waste of time. It is. And you'll see how it'll come back and haunt you. Because if they sitting in your face talking about other people like that, they probably talk about you too. Just a reminder. So, that being said, I love you all. It's been a pleasure and an honor. I will ask this. I mean, I'll never get really a chance to ask this. Anybody have any questions at all? Statements, you don't like what I said? I mean, anything you can be, you know, we got another minute or two or so on here. If it's anything, feel free. You want to type it in the notes, feel free. You just want to get on and say you want to break quick. I love you. I love you so much. You can feel free. I'm not bothered by that. None of that at all. But it's awesome to see this love with y'all and y'all on here supporting each other. And thank y'all. My mother taught me lessons, you know, because a lot of people think it's blue on these hats, and which it's not. See, I'm amber hat streets. I just want to say I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all enjoy the rest of this set. And if any of you all want to find me on any of the social networks, I am easy to find. And just simply look up Quick the Poet. You just spell it how it's supposed to be spelled. That's my Nova education coming out, right? QUICKThePoet. And we also have in the future coming up my next mega flow, which just happens to be on my birthday, October 9th, at the world famous Broward Center. If you are interested, for everybody that's on here, I told Niki in advance, I'll make sure that you all get my personal discount code to attend. Ticketmaster, yep, the kid is a Ticketmaster baby, Caroline's son and Alvin's son. You can contact me next Friday or just inbox me and say, hey, I was on that Niki call. If you don't believe me, look back at the recording and I'll make sure that you get it. And you just use the code as soon as possible, because once the Broward Center sees that it is used by so many people, it is shut off. But I love y'all. But let's all stay close. And if you all have anything going on, please feel free to send it out to me if I'm free and available. I'm going to come see about you. I'm going to support you. And that's another closing thing. Keep people around you that are going to consistently motivate you, support you, and keep you enlightened on how you can move forward. If they're not doing better for you, it doesn't matter who it is. Get that energy out your space. I love y'all.
Thank you so much, Quick. And there was 2 comments in there.
Okay, let me take a look.
Mary, who's also a twin, said, "You're blessed to have a handful of queens, and they're blessed to have you as their king. Hats off to the identical twins. I'm also identical twin. God gave you a bonus."
Oh man, so I appreciate you, girl. I appreciate you. Let me tell you, listen, it took me 7 months to even be able to tell them apart. A lot of people ask me that, but that's the God honest truth. My wife knew it from the blink of an eye. She said, Amora and Alexandra. I say, ma'am, come on now. They look exactly alike. We got to put, a Band-Aid on one of them or something. I'm looking like Nelly or something. I don't know what to do because they don't look. I was telling them, I was looking at them wrong. And then what happened was just one morning I woke up, as a friend of mine, he has twins. And he said, man, them your kids, bro. This is what men do to each other. See, as women, y'all make sure we okay. No, you don't know it. Eventually it's going to come. My boy, what he said was this. Them your kids, bro. You gonna know your kids. No, bro, I don't know my kids. They look exactly alike. What are you talking about? Like, you're talking like a magician. Can you tell them apart? I had him look. Oh yeah, that's Alexandra. That's Amora. No, King, you have it wrong. That's Alexandra and that's Amora. You're wrong. Do you know your kids? Stop giving me advice. I had to change him up. But it's awesome. It's awesome having twins. But they know who they are. I call a name, they turn their head. They know. And you see the subtle differences now too. One of them has a little bit more full face and the other one has a little bit, her eyes are a little bit more chinky. But it's neat. They like love rock stars out here. Girl, them twins are love. All of the girls, to be honest. But the entire pack. But tell her thank you so much. Just having the queendom is awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you so much, Quick, for being here and contributing. I love that we have this, we want to be in person, and in person you can never replace that. But virtual also has a nice opportunity as well, because, like you said, when you go to shows, you hear the poem, people go to an exhibition, they see the art. So being virtual, being in this setting where it's intimate, but it's also worldwide, gives us a chance to hear from the artist what went into that piece, what connected to that piece. There's, and it's just a beautiful thing. I'm so honored. We're so honored to have you here as a featured artist for today. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much. It's been
thank you,
super. Man, thank y'all so much. Thank you. I love all y'all.
I just want to throw in here that if you all follow Jerris' social media, that will be a bit of positive energy in your day every single day. So if you need positive energy, because every post just lifts you up a little bit and takes you to a really positive place, whether it's family, friends, parents, the beach, it's all good energy coming your way. So I just want you to know, Jerris, that when I hit that like and that love, you're just lifting us all a little bit each time.
Oh man, thank you. I'm so humbled, Jan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. Now I got to make sure I keep my energy up the rest of my life. Thank the Lord I was born like this. Good Lord. This would be hard.
No pressure.
Man, thank you so much, Dang. I'm gonna keep trying. We all stay united out here. And that's all that's gonna end up happening for us all. If we and people gotta start believing that. Every single person, that's it. That's all it takes. Just keep positively affecting another person. That's it. We weed out the negativity, and eventually in this world, it'll take care of itself. We may not live to see it. I got to be honest, but we may. Think about it. We've seen some things that, President Kennedy, Martin Luther King, they didn't get a chance to see this. Of what's going on now, even with all the challenges we still have. Yes, we have plenty of global challenges still going on. But times now there's still a lot of differences than what we had to live through from before. And that's the truth. So we just keep working together. That's what we do. Make this world a better place. I believe in that.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else has any more comments, questions, feedback?
I loved your statement, protect their hope. In these times, that is so important. Protect their hope.
Thank you so much. Very important to me. Another tidbit on that piece too, that a lot of people didn't know. When somebody asked me once to, when they heard me do it at a feature set, asked me to come do it at another event, I believe it was in Atlanta. And when she phrased it at first, she said to me, she said, I want to know if you didn't mind why because I was supposed to be flying up there for another event. She was like, hey, could you just come do a little poem like that one that you did? And I had to correct her. Side note is, that poem took me almost a year to write. There is no little poem. That took me a year to put that together. I could have wrote it in any other way, and that's why my poems are so important to me. They are my true life stories. I'm talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I have some amazing more stories coming, but yeah, that took a year to write. And it's one of my most precious poems, one of my most precious, category 5s. And I plan on protecting the hopes the rest of their life. I expect them to demand this type of energy. Say it to anybody they want. Well, my dad, he's positive like this all the time. And I like when they're confused about things that they see. When they see broken homes, hey, dad, why isn't, a mom there, or a dad, or another mom, or another dad? You know what I mean? Like, why don't they have 2 people though? Well, babies, I really don't know, but y'all have us here, and this how it's going to be the rest of y'all days, as long as I'm breathing here. Even a child. Like I told my wife, we got to figure it out. If you mad, listen, go in the corner. Go think about that. I'll go in the corner. We ain't doing no. We just want to figure this out. We gonna be all right. And just showing them different ways of how you have to learn to agree to disagree, and just get to a bridge of compromise. That's really what relationships really come down to with people in general. Have a form of compromise, even if you don't agree. I have numerous friends I don't agree with some stuff they do, but we have a compromise where our friendship balances out. And if it doesn't sacrifice anything in my livelihood and also theirs, then I'm still good with the agreement. But if they like, hey, listen, so we gonna ride over here and move this cocaine, I can't do that with you. I'm too cute for prison. I'm not interested. I'm not spending a day there. I made it this far, doing great. We're gonna be good people. And that's what I expect my girls to do, protect your hopes and keep climbing. And I'm gonna protect it for them. So they do the same thing for in the future when it comes to their kids and stuff. You get what I'm saying? See how you pass on the energy? That's what I'm doing. I'm sure my mom looking down on me happy. She passed on January 15th, 2021 this year. And it was one of the most eye-opening things ever. And her son is literally, and it's ironic I have Jan on here with me, I'm linked into the Broward Center as a part of that family. And it's a dream come true. The same kid who graduated from Nova High School, that grew up in the hood here, that told his mom he was gonna come back there and do something incredible and positive, is doing it. Show my kids the dream. Whatever they want to do, they can do. We got to protect hopes. Keep passing on that energy. Trust me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very welcome.
So I just want to go over, because I know we're wrapping up towards the end, and just to give you all an idea of the future programming. Again, like, this is the showcase. So we have the one day that's usually they're Thursday evenings. We're going to have a different artist leading an art making workshop and having a discussion about one of the lenses of social justice. We're going to allow the community to create a piece of art. Last week we did collages. Next week the next one is going to be some fabric art. We have a poet coming in to make, show us how to use our words in creating a piece. We have different art making workshops and talking with the community. So the artists and the special guests is going to give their examples of how they use art to create change, how they use art to impact and educate around social justice in whichever lens. And but there, when we have the community do the art, we also are engaging the community to talk about things that they see as a challenge, or to talk about things that they do in their community, in their space, to do the same thing. So it's an interactive thing. And then we have the Saturday afternoon where we come together, we showcase that work, we have a featured artist, and then we're going to culminate. And hopefully by the time we culminate, we're going to be at the beautiful new LA Lee YMCA that's in the heart of Sistrunk. And so we're looking forward to that. It's under construction. And so that's going to be a wonderful thing. So just to, give a little recap, the second workshop is going to be focusing on agency, capacity to affect change. So that's going to be August 12th. The artist is going to be the fabric artist Kianga, and we also have an additional speaker coming. And for August 28th, which is a Saturday, the featured performance is actually on this call. It will be Alana. So if y'all don't know, that's definitely, Alana has an amazing voice, many talents. I'm so grateful to know her for so many years. She's a sistren, she's a creative colleague and rebel and amazing mom in person. And we've done so much over the years, but she also has an amazing voice. So it's definitely something you want to check out. Then the next one will be, the third one will be advocacy, skills to affect change. And we have Adijade, who's going to be doing a poet, and we're going to have a speaker, and he's also going to be the featured artist for September. So the workshop will be September 16th. The showcase will be September 25th. The fourth one will be Solidarity, and we have artist and curator Kaula, who's going to be leading the workshop. We also have a writer and artist, Cherie, a part of the conversation. We have another guest speaker. And Cherie, who is, she's a poet, she's a writer. She's going to be doing the featured artist for that time. And then we also have the culminating event, which will be in January. And all of those dates are going to be, let me see if I could look it up, January 8th. Oh, so we have October 14th, October 23rd, and then January 8th is the culminating. So if you go to whatsyourelephant.org // the Art of Justice, you're going to see that information. So this is the Art of Justice, art making as a catalyst for social justice and collective action. If anyone has any final thoughts, feedback or comments, I'm gonna open it up before we close out this afternoon.
If I may, thank you so much for everyone for hanging out with us during this time. One of the goals of this process is, as we discuss access, is to figure out what access means to us, but also what actions can we take into that arena. So there will be 4 lenses, and they are specific, agency and the other 2. But the ultimate goal is to break social justice. It's a big issue, but if maybe we look at it through 4 different lenses, we may find little action steps that we can take in each one of them. And it was taken from a curriculum or model that was made for education. And Niki loved the idea to really infuse art and say, hey, it doesn't have to be just for schools and colleges. We could actually talk about that and mix it with art and make it happen and get to touch other areas of a human being that may not be touched when you are just simply at a school, just looking at a model, or academically just looking into what you're asked to do. So as you hear those lenses, ideally we hope that some of those inspire you to find little action points or things that you can do. Access speaks, and I loved Quick, a lot of the things you mentioned today, because Access also talks about inclusion, right? Talks about how do we do and everything we do, how do we think about if this was a democratic process, what does that look like? How do we take other people's points of view and respect them and make sure that all decisions are made with also people that are thinking a little differently than we are sitting at the table, right? Because if we only talk to people that think like us, so we're only gonna get one perspective, ours. And then we're never gonna be able to see beyond that. So as challenging as maybe. So thank you so much really for hanging out with us and being part of this process.
Yes, yes, yes. And I just want to read out a couple of comments. We have Sue saying, love the powerful poetry and rich conversation. Thank you all. I feel blessed by each of you and our time together. Very inspiring. We also have Jan Goodhart saying, just my thank you for including me in this dialogue and getting to know some of you, even if it's just a virtual start. And thank you to all who are trying to truly seek change through the power of the arts. Yes, yes, yes. So I think, we're wrapping up a few minutes before the time, and hopefully, hopefully everyone is inspired. I know I'm definitely inspired. I love the conversation. I love one of the things too, when we were on the call, Alana and I and Kaula and Seattle were prepping for this call, and we're talking about social justice. One of the things that came up is it's not only talking about race, right? So I love that Jerris poem, without knowing that conversation we had last night, talked about the women in his life and being equal. So, because sometimes when we have this, there's so many buzzwords out there that we get locked into social justice only meaning this color of our skin. And there's so many things that social justice covers. So I just want to point out that, and everyone has something that they could do to impact change in their community. It doesn't matter if it's small or large. We are using a virtual platform, right? When we talk about what do we want to see on the web, we don't want to see all these things on the web. If we have cell phones, we have the ability to impact change and put out there what we want to see on the web. We could use ourselves as as models for other people to see, like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and you never know who you're going to impact and motivate. And like Jerris said, it starts from home, right? You be an example for your kids. Those kids grow up and they are example for their kids. So it doesn't matter if you have money, that you don't need to be you don't always have to like be on marching in your street. You could impact change in your community, in your office, in your classroom, in your home, in your relationship, in your children. A lot of things that we're fighting in yourself. Absolutely, right? A lot of things we're fighting today is because of things that adults were made valid in the home, right? We teach children by example of things we say to them, of things they see us do. And those children grow up to run the world. And these problems that we have is from children that was raised or not raised by parents and teachers. And parents are the teachers, the family's the teacher. So those are things we have to be mindful. And let me just read, let's see, Jerris says, you're all remarkable human beings. Thank you all so much for taking time out to spend life with me. It's an honor and a pleasure. I pray you reunite with you all again. Mary, absolutely. We have tunnel vision and can't see beyond what's before us. Gabe, please come back on August 12th and bring somebody with you, share, help spread the word. Absolutely. So this is the first of the program. These are all free to the community. It is virtual, so it doesn't matter where we are on the planet or where your friend is on the planet. Please invite someone to the next program. All the programs will be on Facebook, eventually be on YouTube. So please help to share the word in that way. So I
wanted to add, Niki, that is definitely one action step that everyone can take. Share about the upcoming events, and also, share the replay. We have the workshops that people can watch and still participate and make something beautiful and add to the showcase. There is a culminating event, and if all goes well, it will be in the brand new Y building. And we want those pieces in. So feel free to watch us on the replay. Feel free to share, and bring someone to the next workshop.
Yes. So if you're an artist that has work that fits the, what we're talking about, if you're somebody who watches the replay and wants to work a project on your home, on your time, you can still submit that through the call to artists. So thank you all again today for hanging out with us on a Saturday afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you all on the next time.
Sounds like a plan. Love you all. You take care.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jane and Trish.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks. Thank you too. All right. Take care. Bye.